Hi guys, welcome to the Birthplace Studio Kitchen. It's 2022 and we're going to start off this year by making some Asian treats. So today we're going to be making something different. It's called a Chinese hamburger. So you're thinking, what is a Chinese hamburger? So it's our take of a little snack. Basically it's a steamed bread dough filled with a nice mince inside. So you steam that first and then you're going to pan fry each side so it's nice and crispy. And it's a nice snack to have in the mid-afternoon or breakfast or in a light evening snack. Okay, so first of all we need to make the dough. So this is my recipe. We've got 3 cups of bread flour, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of butter, unsalted, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of yeast, and a little bit of water here to activate the yeast. Okay, so when you're making bread, you have to activate the yeast, and by doing this, you need warm water because the yeast likes warm water. So we're going to put that in there, and also yeast likes sugar. So from that, you're just going to pinch, and now you're going to dissolve the yeast in the water. So this is quite a quick process. Alright, so once the yeast is dissolved, it's going to start reacting. You can use your finger just to scrape your spoon. Just like that. So when working with yeast, you have to make sure that the water isn't too hot, or else it will kill the yeast. So rule of thumb, if your finger goes into the water and it doesn't burn your finger, it's fine. Alright, so next. When I make bread, I like using a little tea towel at the base so I can mix it all nicely. So in goes the flour. There all the dry ingredients. So you got your baking powder, sugar, salt. Okay. You can also use the back of a spoon, or I've got a little dial stick that I like using. So we're just going to mix it into here. Now we're just mixing the flour and all the dry ingredients so it's evenly distributed. Okay. Now I can't really see, but it's starting to bubble already. So that means the yeast is actually being activated and it's coming alive. Okay, so in goes the butter. Now I like putting the water slowly so it doesn't clump up immediately. In goes the yeast. So keep stirring and add the water slowly at a time. And then move the flour away from the sides. So you want the dough to be quite soft and pliable, you don't want it dry. Now you can always add more water, but I'd like to add it slowly because you don't want to add too much. But if you do, you just add more flour. Okay, as you can see, it's coming nicely off the sides, so just scrape that off. Okay, so you can still see some residue at the bottom of the bowl. So just keep adding water. Okay, so at this point you just feel the texture. So it's quite soft and spongy now, so you don't want to add more water. It looks like there's still some dry spots. Now you just work it in with your hand. Now we're just going to give it a few kneads with your back of your palm. So you pull it up, push it down, pull it up, push it down. Now you can also put the dough onto your work surface and then knead it like that. It's not really necessary. Okay, so about 3 minutes and it's fine. Okay, so now you're going to get a ball. You can see it's quite elasticy. Roll it into a ball. Okay, and then we're going to put some olive oil. This just stops it from drying out. About a teaspoon. Just going to rub it all together. Now we're going to let this rest in a warm environment until it's doubled in size, probably about an hour. You can use a tea towel or cling wrap is fine. So it goes over like that. Okay, so you can either just leave it in a warm area or in the warmer drawer oven and let it rise for about an hour until it's doubled in size. Okay, cool. Now we're going to do the filling. Okay, so we are ready for the mince. Alright, so I've got 500 grams of ground beef mince. I've got a small onion that's finely diced. Some coriander, so it's about 2 tablespoons of coriander. I use the stalks as well. I actually like using the stalks. The sauces, I've got a tablespoon of dark soy sauce, a tablespoon of light soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, and 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And then 1 tablespoon of grated ginger, a tablespoon of finely chopped garlic, some salt, about a teaspoon, and half a teaspoon of black pepper. Right, so in this I'm just going to mix everything. I like using gloves so it can get really stuck in there. Put everything together. Okay, the ginger, garlic, salt. Okay, now I'm just going to mix it in first before I add the sauces, so get that all ground up. Okay, so you want to make sure all the onions and the coriander gets mixed into the mince. Okay, now I can add the sauces. So you can actually use this recipe with the pork as well, if you want to change a variation. Okay, so this is going to marinate for also about 25 minutes to 30 minutes. The dough is growing nicely, improving nicely, so so you keep mixing this, squeezing the mince through your hands so that all of the flavors get into the mince. It gives a nice color as well. You can see it's a nice dark color. Okay. Okay, there you have it. Nice ball of mince. Ready for the hamburgers. Okay, so moment of truth. Here you can see the dough has doubled in size. Alright, here is our mince ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate, make little balls of dough. We're going to need some flour for dusting, a little bit of water just to seal off the mixture. Okay, so now just add some flour into the bowl, just loosen it up a bit. Alright, so just knead it a bit. Alright, knock all the air out. So I should proof this in the oven. I put the oven at the lowest heat, I think it was 50 degrees, and the element was at the bottom, not the top, so it didn't heat from the top. So we're going to try and do about 8 little dumplings, burgers. so we need 8 rounds. Okay, so you roll it into a little sausage, big sausage. Cutter, half, half, half. It's going to go 4, so you're going to half it again. Okay, so now you've got your 8. Now you can weigh them, but if it's just for home, it's not necessary. So there's your ball. We're just going to roll it. What you can also do is just pinch it in to make a nice little ball, like that. Pinch the ends in. Ball. Or you can roll it on your work surface. Put some pressure, keep rolling around. Okay, so we're going to do all 8 of them and then we'll come back. Okay, so as you can see, I've made 8 little balls. Alright, so next step is we're just going to flour our work surface, pat it down. Got a rolling pin or a rolling dial, we're just going to press it out, keep turning so you keep a circular formation. Okay, so you want it probably about just under 1 centimeter thick, or half a centimeter. And then the size of your palm. Okay, so something like that. Alright, now with your tablespoon, you want quite a big heap. Okay, dab of water with your finger around the sides, just to seal it off, and then just to press the mincemeat in. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to crimp it in with your fingers, and then you're just going to pinch it together. Just seal it off, and then you're going to slowly twist. Okay, from here, put it back on the surface, press it down with your palm, make sure it's sealed. Yeah. And you can actually flatten it a bit because now we're going to let it rise and prove again. So it's going to puff up. Okay, so probably the size of your palm as well, again. Make sure it's nice and round. And that's your first one. Okay, so as you can see, there's 6 here and I've got another 2 in the pan there. So I've dusted it, I put some greaseproof paper and some flour, and then I've just proofed them in the oven again for about 20 odd minutes, just to let them puff up a bit. Okay, so now non-stick frying pan, a little bit of oil, so we're just going to switch this on. Okay, just enough oil just to shallow fry the buns, alright? So you don't want too much oil to deep fry it, it's not a deep frying process. We're just lightly going to brown on both sides, and then you're going to need a little bit of water and a lid, so we're going to steam it just to finish it off. Okay, so the pan is quite warm. So what you do is you just take one of your burgers. You can also shape it with the palm of your hand to make it more round. Okay, and in it goes. Another one. Okay, so we're going to do 2 at a time. You don't want to overcrowd the pan. Now you're just going to keep on going round and control the heat. So I'm going to drop it down a bit. Okay, so all you're going to do is about just under a minute basically. You're just going to brown the 2 sides, and then we're going to finish it off by steaming it. Okay, so we're going to do a quick flip. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, Nice color on both sides. So you can also notice that as you're cooking it, the bread is actually expanding, so it's popping up quite nicely. Okay, so they're nice and brown on both sides. So I'm just going to drain the oil quickly. Any excess oil. Okay. Now, you need a lid. And a little cup of water. So you're just going to steam it. So you pour it in. Okay, now you're just going to let it steam until all the water evaporates, and then it's done. Cool. Okay, so all the water has evaporated, so they're ready to come out. And as you can see there, it's steaming hot. Okay, so here you can keep them in the oven whilst you're finishing off all the others. And now we're going to plate. Okay, so here you have it. It's the Chinese hamburger. As you can see, it's nice and crispy and the inside's nice and moist. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and we're going to enjoy some lunch now. Okay, thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.